Thank you, David.
Well, isn't it great that we as Christians can come together and have so much fun? Isn't it? So I've got here a story from a person who is really thinking back long ago. And he's a very, very clever man. And this is how it goes. And it is called The Way We Did Things at Our Home. When I was born, I was still very young. My father and mother were not home. They were in the potato field. And that field was not ours, but we always got our potatoes from it. At home, we had 20 children, 10 boys, 9 girls, and 1 doubtful. And the last one always remained the youngest. We slept in one room, and all of us wore gas masks. Because we only had one bed, sleeping was difficult. The first child was put to bed, and when she was asleep, she was taken out and put against the wall. Then it was the next one's turn, and so on. Waking up was less trouble. Once, they left me against the wall for a whole day before they noticed. Our alarm clock was a bucket. When the bucket was full, it was 7 o'clock. If my father had been drinking at night, the bucket overflowed, and 7 o'clock came earlier than usual. We were all very clever. One of my brothers was a magician. He would go to the pub with an old coat and come home with a new one. My mother never rinsed the nappies. We grew up on powdered milk. So she just shook the nappies out. Of course, we had to live economically. We had to use toilet paper on both sides, and after that, it went to the dry cleaner. My father was hard of hearing. We had eaten the ears from his head. At our home, we never ate with knife and fork. We would open our cake holes. Mother would throw something in, and father would close the lids. And all our boys are called John, except for Fred, whose name is Henry. One of our sisters was very smart. One day she went to the market and bought 12 cups for $2.50. But it was a pity that all the handles were on the inside. My other sister dated a boy who only had one eye, and if she wanted to speak to him privately under 4 eyes, then I had to be present too. And then the youngest one. He always complained about pain in his stomach. Mother always used to say, "Be happy that you've got a stomach. Otherwise your sandwich would fall straight into your pants." My eldest brother is 59. He could have been 60, but he was sick for a year. One of my sisters is so cross-eyed, when she cries, the tears roll over her shoulder. I was 6 when I started school. I got on so well with the teacher, that's why I repeated several grades. Other boys had to go to a different grade every year. Once my teacher asked me, if you owe the baker $2 and the butcher $10 and the greengrocer $13, how much do you owe them? Oh, I said, I don't know, sir. When we owe that much, we usually move. Now I'd like to tell you something about the others, but I don't know anymore, except something about Fred, who was called Henry. When he left school, my father sent him to a smith, who gave him a hammer and said, "When I nod, then you hit." The smith only nodded once. Well, that's the way it was at our place, and of course, you would like to know my name so that you can send me a few enthusiastic letters. Now, of course, my name is also John, because at our place all the boys were called John, except for Fred, who was called Henry. I've got another little story. It's not as long as that one, but seeing we have just had a football season and now we come in the spring racing season, there's a little bit I picked up about races and especially how newspapers can spice up reports. Right. And the story goes as follows. A priest wanted to raise money for his church, and being told there was a fortune in horse racing, decided to purchase a horse and enter it in the races. However, at the local auction, the going price for a horse was so high that he ended up buying a donkey instead. He figured that since he had it, he might as well go ahead and enter it in the races. To his surprise, the donkey came third. The next day, the local paper carried this headline: "Priest as shows." The priest was so pleased with the donkey that he entered it in a race again, and this time it won. And the local paper read, "The pass ass out in front." The bishop was so upset with this kind of publicity that he ordered the priest not to enter the donkey in another race. The next day, the local paper headline read, "The bishop scratches pastor's ass." This was too much for the bishop. So he ordered the priest to get rid of the donkey. The priest decided to give it to a nun in a nearby convent. The local paper, hearing of the news, posted the following headline the next day: "The nun has best ass in town." The bishop fainted, and he informed the nun that she would have to get rid of the donkey. So she sold it to a farmer for $10. And the next day the paper read, "Nun sold ass for $10. This was too much for the bishop. So he ordered the nun to buy back the donkey and lead it to the plains where it could run wild. The last headline in the paper said, "Nun announces her ass is wild and free."
And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce to you an international star, somebody that's world-renowned. Pavarotti.
Nessun this is probably our most senior performer. In fact, he's our most senior resident. 49, okay. And he's probably our most experienced performer, actually. He's very confident. During the week when I rang him and said, could he come over perhaps for the last run-through, he declined. He said, no, I really can't. And fair enough, he just brought his wife home from hospital, so I said, that's okay. And he said, Teresa, I won't let you down. I said, I know you won't. So I felt quite confident too. However, last night he rang, I'm not feeling so good. So I said, well, that's okay as well. Today he rings about an hour ago and he said, I feel fine now, I'll still come. So, would you like a chair? Would you like a chair? Or a wheelchair? No. Okay, you just want the mic. No problem. Here we are. Mr. Peter Wilson.
Now this song is not complete unless you join with me. And I'm going to ask you to only sing at the end of every 3 lines, to sing 3 words. Why can't we? Now this is how it goes. The 3rd line, I'm going to give you the melody. All the little worms are happy, wriggling with their white so why can't we? Once again. Why can't we? Now, I think that the sound is not enough. I think I'll take it on a little higher note. All the little worms are happy, wriggling with their wines. So why can't we? Right, here goes now. Why should we be far apart and lonely all our lives? Even little bumblebees are cuddling in their hives. All the little worms, I think I'll take it on a lower note. All the little worms are happy wriggling with their wives. So why can't we? Pretty flowers are making love to lovely butterflies. Lovingly the loving pig are grunting in their style. All around the countryside, the sheep are making eyes. So why can't we? Why, Mr. John Blick caterwauling, you hear him calling. Why is Mr. Billy Bilton a caterwauling? 'Cause they're in love. All the little mice are sharing little bits of cheese. Hummingbirds are humming love in 50 different keys. Nightingales are softly crooning to their brides to be. So why can't we? All the little mice are sharing little bits of cheese. Hummingbirds are humming love, 50 different keys. Nightingales are softly crooning to their brides to be. So why can't we? Now that was an extra verse I sang you. You had to pay me $2 for that. In the sea you see red herring making love in shoals. Little whales are sporting tales of love among the poles. All the little cobs are cuddling, all the little souls. So why can't we? All the sentimental cows mooing, the doves are cooing up above. All us married men are IOUing. Why? 'Cause we are in love. Love is just the grandest thing life has ever known. Love is why a man should never carry on alone. Love's the only reason why dog will share a boat. So why can't we? Love's the one exciting thing that happens in our lives. Love for someone else is why some fellows lose their lives. Love is why King Henry had so many private wives. So why can't we? With one more go. Why can't we? Thank you very much. Thank you.